So you want to start a business. Let's talk about the few things that you need to know before starting that business so you're more likely to succeed instead of fail. A lot of people see business as a way for freedom. It's a way for you to set your own schedule. It's a way for you to do something that you love. But there are things that you need to take into account before you start your business that'll guarantee that you're less likely to fail. So let's talk about those things today. Now, who am I? I'm Amy. I'm a business owner myself. I own a company called Fresh Drip. I'm a professor of advertising at a university here in the United States. And I am a kind of person who likes to start businesses. And I want to share with you some of the pitfalls to avoid so that you are more likely to be successful with the business that you choose to start. So let's get into it. So the first three things that you need to think about are skills, access, and leverage. So let's think about skills first. Skills is what you know how to do and what you know how to do well. Do you know how to sew? Do you know how to crochet? Do you have a business background already? Are you a car mechanic? What are those skills that you have that you currently either are using not at the degree that you could be using them to make more money, or you're not really using those skills at all? So you have to think about those things. What is something that you do well, and you could possibly turn that into a business that actually earns money? A lot of times people get hung up on skills because they think the skill has to be something large or something that they use all the time. Don't think like that. A skill could be that you know how to look things up really fast in the internet, and you could use that to build a business to figure out what's the best product to drop ship right now. A larger skill could be that maybe back in high school you were really good at algebra, and that is not a skill that a whole lot of people have. And a lot of parents are willing to pay people who are good at algebra to tutor their children. So you could start a small business on tutoring for algebra. So when I'm talking about you have to look at what your skill sets are, really sit down and write down everything you're good at and everything that you know, and then try to figure out how you can use that to make money. So remember, it's skills, access, and leverage. Let's talk about access now. Now, remember how I said maybe you were really good at algebra back in the day in high school and you still have that skill set? Well, in order to become an algebra teacher, you have to have access to a lot of kids. You have to have kids in the area. If you live in a small town that doesn't necessarily have a large population of high school students who are taking algebra, then maybe starting a algebra tutoring business is not the right business for you. So when you're thinking about how you can combine your skills with a business, make sure that you still have access to what makes that skill valuable outside of just a few people. So really look at what is the opportunity to grow this business, because in order to make money, you have to have people to sell to, and you have to have people who actually want the skill set. Next, we have leverage. Now, leverage can mean a lot of different things, but in the aspect of building a business, leverage is what you have access to already. It goes back to that access point. So let's think about when you are trying to build a business. A lot of people think that it costs a lot of money, because it does. So when you're talking about leverage, and in the context of that leverage, what you're trying to do is figure out what you already have so that it costs you less to start that business. So let's say you want to start an auto mechanic shop. Well, if you've never worked on cars before and you don't have the tool sets and you don't have access to a garage, you don't have a lot of leverage to start that business. You're going to have to put in a lot of money to get the things needed in order to build that business. Now, if we go back to that business that we were talking about before, that algebra tutoring to the high school students, all you need for that is students. If you have students, you're pretty much good to go. There's a lot of leverage there because there's no real money other than printing a couple of flyers, maybe making a couple of meta posts, and letting people know about that you are actually having a tutoring business. There's not a whole lot of money to put into that business there. So their leverage is good. So that's a really, really easy business to start because there's not a whole lot of money you have to come out of pocket right there in the beginning. So when you're thinking about leverage, you have to think about what you have available to you now so that you don't have to spend as much money getting that business started. So now you understand skills, access, and leverage. The next thing you have to understand is that You have to have a problem that you are solving for that consumer. So when you're thinking about your skills, you're thinking about your access, and you're thinking about your leverage, you have to think about that in the realm of problem solving. What is the problem that you are solving for that person that you are trying to sell to? Now, again, if we go back to our two examples of the algebra tutor and the car mechanic. Now, the car mechanic's pretty simple, right? You are solving the problem of the person needs their car fixed. Everyone has a car, mostly, and everybody usually has a problem with their car at some point in time. So you know what the problem is. That's a very, very big problem. You're probably going to want to pare that down into a smaller problem, but we'll get to that later. When it comes to the algebra tutoring, what is the problem that you're solving for that person? Well, I think about it like this. The student is not getting the direction from the teacher that they should be getting in the class in a way that they can understand it. You are solving that problem by giving them one-on-one tutoring that's going to help them understand the problems in algebra so that they can get a good grade and pass high school. So when you are thinking about your skill set, your leverage, your access, you have to think about that in the context of the problem that you are solving for that consumer. Now, it's very, very important because when you go to sell this, you want to tell that consumer what it is that you are doing for them. That's why it's so important to know what problem your business is solving before you actually bring it to market. So now that you understand the skills, the access, the leverage, you understand finding the problem that you're solving for the consumer, the next thing you have to understand is that you need to pick just one product or service to sell. A lot of businesses fail early on because they're trying to sell too many things at one time. They don't have one distinct product that they are pushing to that targeted consumer. They're pushing multiple things, thinking that they can hit everybody. Well, let me be the person to tell you so that you don't fail right out the gate. Just pick one product, just pick one service, and stick with it. Find the person who is most likely to want that problem solved that you are solving, and then market as hard as you can towards them. Everyone says when they first start a business that everyone is my customer. Sure, everyone could be your customer, but do you have enough money and time to market to everyone in the whole realm of the universe? I'm going to venture to say probably not. I know none of the clients that I've ever worked with have, and I know that I certainly don't have enough money to do that. So that's why business consultants always say, sell one product, solve one problem, and find that one consumer that is most likely to be super excited about the fact that you are solving that one problem for them. If you do this, you are more likely to succeed at business, and it won't be as hard of a push to get that product sold. So remember that as you're coming up with your business. Don't market everything. Don't sell everything. Don't think everyone's your consumer. Find that one person, that one problem, and solve it for them. So now you have a quick overview of how you should go about thinking about starting your business. If you use this framework and you work through it and really spend some time with it, you are much more likely at succeeding in business. Now, what is the next step? That's probably what you're going to ask. I have my problem, I have my consumer, I have my idea, I know what I'm doing. What do I do next? Well, the next thing you have to do is you have to figure out how you are going to deliver that product to the consumer. Is this something that you are going to do digitally? Is it something that's face-to-face? Do you need a website? Do you need a storefront? What are all the things that you need in order to make sure that you can deliver on your promise to the consumer to solve that problem for them? Now, once you figure that out, it's time to start selling. Now, this is a lot of the times where people get hung up because they think that if they build it, they will come. Well, in order to have people actually buy your product, you have to tell people about it. So the next thing you have to do after you figure out how to deliver that product to the consumer is you have to market it. You have to let them know that it's there. You need to advertise. Now, the cheapest way to advertise is one, if you put flyers up. If you're doing a tutoring business, it's probably a great idea to put flyers up at your local recplex, maybe in the school. Maybe you can ask the schools to put some stuff up in the cafeterias or on their bulletin boards, things like that. If you don't have a business like that, you're probably going to have to run ads. Now, your cheapest bet is to run digital ads on a platform like Meta. Meta's Very easy to run ads on. There are hundreds of videos out there teaching you how to run the ads. And the greatest part about these digital meta ads is they don't cost a whole lot of money. A lot of people think that if you want to advertise, you have to have these huge budgets. If you just have $50, that is enough if you know who your targeted consumer is to actually get your message to that consumer. So that's why it's so important, as I was stressing in the beginning, to know who that target market is, who that consumer is that you're selling, because when it comes time to actually advertise to them, remember, you have a little bitty budget. You want to get the most out of it that you can, and you want to make sure that that consumer knows about your product or service. So remember, advertising is the next step after you're figuring out how to deliver that product to the consumer. Now, I can't guarantee that you'll be a success in business, but I'm hoping by giving you these tips, tricks, and tools, you are more likely to be successful at the business that you choose to start running. I wish you luck in your business, and if you like this video and you want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe at the bottom. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.